Good morning, everyone. This is Ravegal. This is the video recording from the race that I did against Markman. And I was going to try and do commentary while I was doing the race, but turns out racing is actually a lot harder than I assumed as far as just focus and mental capacity goes, and I was not up to my normal commentary game. So I figured it would be better to just go ahead and do this after the fact and see how it turns out. Right off the bat, we've got a Rosa start, which is awesome. Rosa's, generally speaking, the best character to start with, just mostly because she is so versatile. We get a Kain to go with her, which is great. Kain is, again, a pretty strong character, can be good early game with a little bit of equipment, and can get going relatively quickly, and can be decent in it. For an item, we got the Rat Tail, which is not great, but if I was figuring at this point, okay, if we get the hook early, that it gives us an extra check instead of having to rush right to the hook. Now, with these two strong characters, it's right away see the nerves of not being able to land the airship correctly. With these two characters, I was like, okay, this is a strong start. I'm not going to bother doing any additional looting before I dive into Antlion. And I got partway through before I realized that that was a really dumb idea. And that Dwarf Axe was my saving grace of like, oh, wait, I don't actually have any equipment for these characters yet, and we have C. Neki on, so they don't necessarily have good equipment. I was thinking, okay, well maybe, because Rosas can contribute to damage early, but you need a bow and good arrows. And Kain needs some sort of weapon beyond. Usually he starts with something like a fire sword or a wind spear. So getting that Dwarf Axe really saved my bacon. Was desperately looking there. Got the archer bow and was like, okay, maybe we can pull this out. Dwarf Axe, ice armor, and then rune armlet. And this is when I see that Rosa, a lot of times Rosa will have like iron arrows and short bow equipped. And I was like, oh, she has, of course she came with a staff this time. So get the best equipment I can. At this point, it's like, okay, well, I've already committed. It's just the Antlion boss, so we should be okay. We'll see what it is. And it's King Queen. I have never been happier to see King Queen Evelyn at this location. Normally, you don't want to see easy bosses in this spot, just because it means that you're not going to get them later if you end up having to. But we're able to very quickly dispatch them, despite having mediocre equipment, because it's a real easy boss. And did finish the first couple off quickly there. If you finish off the first guy, or the king, then the queen will automatically back out. So, yeah. One down, and at this point I am having a bit of a panic attack as I'm realizing, okay, that was really stupid. To dive to Antlion so directly. It's like, okay, Kain can get good weapons in a lot of places. So, okay. I'm just gonna do, we've got our rat tail. I'm going to go ahead and do a little bit of checking on the just basic location. So I went to Damsian, figured hovercraft will probably be needed with the rat tail in tow. Quick check to see if I can get something good, and a bunch more equipment for Kane, but nothing for Rosa still. So with a little bit more gear in hand, I decide to go directly over to Hobbs, grab our next character, finally get around to actually doing my sort. That really shows you kind of where I was at. This is normally one of the first things I do the first time I go into my inventory is get my sort to the top right corner. It's a really good indicator of how out of sorts I was for this. You know, no matter how many times you practice, unless you are in that racer mindset, which I'm not. I was shaking during this. Okay, so we get Palom and Lugae. Lugae is, again, a really easy boss. I shouldn't have done that fire one. It does nothing. And except waste animation time. So just real quick, have Kane do that. At this point, we're very much the Kane show, but that's okay. Palom comes online pretty quickly. And Kane also dodges poison because he's near, which is nice. Genuinely, we should have just been parrying the whole time with those characters. Just Kane, all the time. Past me yelling at myself to parry. So we got Cure 2 and Ice 2, Fire 2. Our characters are actually usable at this point. And we're heading to Fabul. Because of the free heal here, we don't have to worry about the poison or the low health. Go check, and boom, there is Dancing Dagger for Palom. We can finally get that archer bow going on Rosa. And walk back out just to make sure that I don't have to redo the shopping. One of the things that was very much in my head as I was going through was don't forget to save, because that is something that happened in a couple of the practice runs, and if I end up losing time because of a death where I didn't save beforehand, I would have felt kind of dumb. So I probably lost time because I saved too much, but better than nothing. So at this point, we don't have any usable key items, so seeing the Mist Dragon here was awesome. It feels very fast, though. So luckily, it's a pretty quick location. Callum's hitting pretty hard there. Totally forgot about the Dancing Dagger, which is not a surprise to me at all. A brief pause there where I was like, oh yeah, I can put this command in because it says prepare to fight. Yeah, me doing stupid stuff because of nerves is definitely a continuous thing throughout this. Although I do still feel like it went really well overall, which is fun. During the pre-show, so Mark had messaged me on one of his practice runs. I was like, yeah, I would have been a lot faster if I hadn't forgotten Mist Dragon. So we had a section during the pre-race where it was supposed to be, you know, give some fighting words to your opponent, and so I said, don't forget Mist Dragon. And so as soon as I saw that Mist Dragon, I was like, I'm checking this immediately. I do not want to catch myself forgetting Mist Dragon after telling Mark not to forget Mist Dragon. So, straight across. I was figuring, okay, if I'm doing Mist Dragon, I can also take out the Boss of Mist Cave, because that's right there. Well, you'll see in a second. Pink Tail. Okay. So now I'm thinking, okay, as soon as I get this hook, I've got potential for a weapon or like a good white robe or something. You know, this could... the Pink Tail item could very easily be an Avenger, Defender, White Robe, Stardust Rod, something good. It could also be something crappy, but... I go past the airship and then have that brief moment of, seriously? Did I just do that? And there's me, again, saving, and then moving, and then saving, and then moving. I should have just walked over. And then Mylon here is a super easy fight. One shot on Mylon. Pain. And then fire 2 on the zombies. Technically didn't need to do the attack there. But I wasn't sure at the time. One objective down. With that done, immediately heading back over to ordeals. You know, it's the standard kind of rotation to do that kind of clockwise early game until you find something that would set you off of it, and currently we are still sitting at no usable checks. Forgot that treasure chest, just totally wasn't thinking about it, and then realized it, had that brief moment of hesitation, was just like, nope, we'll just get it later, or skip it. I don't want to walk back down. I don't remember what it is offhand immediately, but I remember that it was good. So I'm a little bit... it's something that might have helped you. And once again, just kind of the nerves of bumping the door. That's something I've done plenty of other times, like it's not exclusive. I think so I got those charm arrows. Wait, did I start with a flame spear and then sell it and then switch back? I think I did. Oh well. It's one of those, I don't think I'd ever checked the stats on the Dwarf Axe versus the Flame Spear before. I do think I started with it. So that's pretty funny. I did not even notice that during it. So I actually lowered my attack. A couple different ways. Finally remember the dancing daggers there. Did not remember to equip the charm arrows on Rosa. Mylon is a really weak spot to find karate, so that's... Honestly, this is a good one to get out of the way, because finding karate at somewhere like Bahamut or Leviathan is really nasty. So just getting it out of the way is good. Even though it's an easy fight, making sure I have a moment to save. Dark Knight Cecil. Another one to get... this one is actually good to get early, once again. His Darkness Wave is based on how much how many hit points he has. I have my brief panic cure too, and then finally I was about ready to use a second one. It was just like, what am I doing? Just let it go. A Pelham drop. It's not that big of a deal. For those who don't know, pause and hold run on certain fights where they do that like dissolve effect speeds up the animation. So that's why that was happening there. And this time decided not to save because Cecil is fast enough that it wasn't a big deal. Also, we get a free heal when we head in here, so didn't need to revive Pelham. Crystal Gauntlet, once again, not actually a key item. And not usable by my characters. Mom Bomb is actually the worst enemy to see at this location. Because they give a buffer of 10,000 hit points. And that is pretty much just to allow her to explode when you play the vanilla game. So normally this spot has 1,000 hit points, but because it's Mom Bomb, this is me being super impatient. I think I went back up to the menu like a few different times before I finally clicked it. And I believe that Ice 2 just one-shots. This is a really low hit point spot. I had that brief moment where I was going to try and race Mom Bomb, and I'm glad I realized that and stopped. So now, if we get a Cecil, we've got the Crystal Gauntlet and the Andy's Paladin, and we've got spells for Tella. heading to Baron next because it's the only. I think that is the only place we have left at this point. That brief moment of, oh wait, I never actually equipped all the gear I got last time. I had most of that gear before I even bothered. And there we go. There's the nerves of, oh, hop into Baron Castle instead of Baron Town. And it's the guards. I don't have a mute bell. I think that brief pause on the silver was like, I don't have a mute bell. And for some reason, I decided to move off to the side. Had that brief look of, okay, do I have anything? Nope, no mute bell. Have that Odin that would have been really good here. And I just, okay. Charm arrows? Wait, no. These guys are not, they're mage type, so mute arrows would have been good, not charm arrows. And then I was like, okay, Medusa arrows. Medusa arrows are actually really useful for this. Turn to stone. And kill. Really clean. Not the best spot to find those guys. I think that's the vanilla. But it was a required boss, so we take that. That leaves us with the officer. Honestly, this isn't too bad as a second fight, except all the targeting goes at Paladin. And this was like, oh my gosh, are you serious? Just slow. It's not dangerous because I'm pretty sure that these soldiers are going to do like single digit or low double digit damage to Kane. For some reason, I decide to jump, even though that takes Kane off the field and makes it more likely that Paladin gets targeted again. Stop, because if the officer stops, he won't get command anymore. He has one, it's still in queue. Stop lets you. Stop makes it so you can't add new commands to the queue, basically. But if you already have something in place, it doesn't get rid of it. So at this point, we just have him locked in. Once again, probably should have just led with the arrow, but oh well. Finally let well enough alone and just let that go. And there's our magma key. I was so sure this was going to be a hook, and it wasn't. We get a Porum, second white mage. I'm never too upset to get a second white mage. I'm sure that won't come back to haunt me later. Hop over and oh, hey, there's the mute bells that would have been really good for that fight we just did. With that, we are ready to head underground. So as I head underground, I'm trying to think of, which path I want to take first. I'm like, okay, I could do freebies, but honestly, we've got a pretty solid party, and it's like, okay, well, maybe Dwarf Castle. Maybe we just do Dwarf Castle first. I think this party can handle it, and I think it would be we get we get 2 items with Warp Lich. Now, the downside with that is that assumes that we can get up to warp. So I was like, okay, we'll burn our 2 sirens that we got for free. That should make things go a lot faster. I always think as soon as you get underground, especially if you have characters that you're going to be using, it's just good to burn. And right there, we get Berserk. We get a bunch of levels for Forum, and we get Quake for Hallam, which is the most important piece there. But no warp. Burn a second one. Do not trust that my party members can one-shot an egg, so hold off. And I was gonna do stop, and I was like, no, Quake should be able to do this. And lined up a second attack, just in case it comes up a little short, which it does. And that means Rosa doesn't get that experience. Luckily, Palom does, but comes up just short of warp. So at this point, I'm like, okay, what am I gonna do? Double checking to make sure that I'm not missing something or forgetting something. Nope, we're just out of luck. So pop over, decide, okay, we can't do Dwarf Castle yet. Let's do this. Let's get our freebie. See if there's some other path we can take. Decide that I'm gonna loot because I'm still using pretty mediocre gear. Find the monster box right away, which is awesome. I always hate looting this cave because if you don't find the monster box right away, it takes forever. But when you find it right away, it's a good place to look for items. Not as good as I remember it being, but you know what? You gotta look for you gotta look. And at this point, there's at least a chance of finding some good stuff. Like at this point, I was kind of thinking, Ogre-X Blizzard Spear kind of tier would be really useful. Do not know why I did this routing with this. Totally went to the wrong corner there. Just bonked. Again, moving too fast, not thinking. And finished the looting. Soma drop. It's like, okay, this could be good if we get a Tella. Could be good for like a D-Machine grind. Once again, I'm going to do terrible routing here. For some reason, I walk all the way back down and around without actually going to the exit for those 4 chests. Like, if you're gonna go to the bottom side, you might as well do that. And we get the adamant, which is once again not useful as progression. So, okay, we're probably gonna have to do Dwarf Castle. Might have to do it without warp, or might have to do some additional grinding here. I don't know why I saved that Odin. That seems silly. Sell the Grimoire, yep. I think I double-checked a lot of these shops several times as well. Something I need to be better at is taking note of what is in shops. hop over, and there's our black belt. Finally get some decent armor. I mean, we have decent armor, but it doesn't help with our offense. And then pop in here, and there's a mute knife, which bumps Callum's offense. Okay, what can I sell? I just need a little bit more. Picked up enough to have 20 charm and 20 mute arrows. And then I think... Oh wait, I did remember to equip them, at least. I don't think I remembered to equip the black belt, though. Yeah. Again, lots of dumb mistakes. Actually went out of the way to buy that. Quick pop in here just to see who we've got. Dark from Bahamut. And as I'm walking back out here, I have this brief moment of, wait a minute, Bahamut is doable. Technically, I don't think I actually even needed to stay at the inn. That actually, in retrospect, that's a time loss. Bahamut doesn't actually do like static damage or low damage amounts, so we would have been just as dead getting hit by at full health. And the other thing I'm thinking with this is, in addition to just being able to clear Bahamut now, this also means we can clear, we can get some more XP on Callum. Immediately jump into the race mode, or into race mode. Just try and do as much as I can before we get too low, and then realize that this counter is going faster than I expected, and that I probably should have gotten Starveils up first. That slight hesitation there, and then for some reason Kane gets his turn before Callum. That reason being he's faster. And immediately jump into, okay, whoops, probably should have done something with that. Again, didn't actually need to heal in retrospect. Mega Nuke is going to kill you either way if you don't have a Starveil up. But we need to make sure that we have Callum up, so... For some reason I decided to stop using Quake and just start using Twin. I think it was mostly just because it was coming to Porum's turn first, and I didn't want to keep just parrying with her, but probably would have been better to use Quake there. And he drops. There's Warp. That's all I care about. I suppose I also care about the Twin Harp. That is a good one to find at this point. The one concern I had, I was thinking about going after it right away. I was like, this party we're relying a lot on Callum for damage still, because we don't really have a good weapon for Kane, and you can't use magic against the Cave Magnus boss. Kamikaze there, which is always good to have at least one of. I'm not sure exactly what that was. I think I was debating going down and doing some shopping or something. Genuinely don't know. Like I said, I do some real funky, like, flying throughout this. Quick check for weapon. Again, Blizzard Spear Ogre Axe is kind of what I was thinking. And head straight into the boss. See the sparkle there and have this brief moment of panic. This is a relatively high hit point spot, so it can be kind of scary for Lunar Sparkle. Not super high stat wise, but some of the Sparkle bosses, it doesn't matter. So, okay, Wyvern. Wyvern is doable. We get a big wave out the gate, which feels totally reasonable, and then immediately go into just race mode, like I said. Get a slowdown just to make sure we're keeping up, because Wyvern's going to start reflecting nukes at us as soon as he gets back around to it. But he's just taking his sweet time, so there's me realizing that I should be using Quake. As soon as I see I see the nuke go up, get the life queued up, and then Kane kills it. It's like, seriously? At least Callum already had warp. If we were counting on that XP or warp, I would have been kicking myself. So thank you, Bahamut. At this moment, I am panicking, because I'm like, okay, Kane has a fire spear. Rubicant isn't gonna be able to get damaged by that. We're in so much trouble. And then it's elements, and we one-shot it, and it's fine. Second Porum gets some levels. The best part about the warp glitch is the fact that if your character's dead, you have to actually take the time to revive them to cast warp. Not a progress item, but still one of the things that we wanted. And that means that now I feel a lot more confident going up to do Twin Heart. Full Moon, which is not useful. For some reason, I didn't stop and check the Dwarf Castle item shop there. I feel like that is something that did come back to bite me later, if I'm remembering correctly. At this point, I'm going, okay, I need to go back up to the surface. Realize I didn't equip my black belt. And never bothered equipping the Palums or the Forums at all. Didn't bother equipping that Sorcerer Robe, which would have been really good. Again, lots of little dumb mistakes here. It's like, oh yeah, I have a tiara. looking for that robe and realizing, or staff rather, and realizing that I have sold all of my staffs. Double checking to make sure I'm not forgetting something. Was about ready to save and then realized I don't need to. Doing this dive into Sylph Cave quick because we're going back up to the surface. So good to check your freebies if you're going back up to the surface anyway at this point. Like I said, at this point we're planning to do Twin Harp next. Not sure what that pause was. Oh, I was making sure my health was low. Because, so that was the other reasoning there, is walking through that cave lowers your health, which means when we do the Dark Elf fight, we can make the cutscene shorter. I think this was about the point where the commentators stopped to ask me some questions. I was pretty focused, and I don't feel like... Honestly, part of it, I had seen that they were talking to Mark just before me, because I saw them unmute him. And so I was like, okay, I need to be, like, leave myself a little bit of a window to be able to talk to them. So I was trying not to get too deep into any explanations or anything. Which I think was about around this point. Earth Crystal. This is perfect. We're planning on going over to Troya anyway. We get Earth Crystal, get the treasury. You don't want to do the check or that check first. The Earth Crystal check, because that jumps you over to Baron when you finish it. So we do Troya Treasury, then Dark Elf, or Twin Harp rather, and then come back and do the actual Earth Crystal check. I think I actually turned my pass in here as well, just in case I found 5 things on Earth, because I'm doing everything I need to in Troya right now. So if our last check was Vanilla Ribbon Room, I wanted to have it cleared so that that could be our 6th without having to come back to Troya. And part of the reasoning for that, once again, is just because we've got those tails. It feels like it'd be really easy to cascade if we find the right items. Like, we already have half of... we already had Adamant. You know, you could very easily end up with getting the other one. So yeah, you're just turning the pass in. You know, very easily end up with something like, you know, Baron Key into Hook. And have that rat tail give the legend, and then boom, we're done. So, that's a bit extreme, but I don't know why I came back. Oh, in case, yeah, I wanted to make a save before I went down, just in case. I think I may have saved over it. That was definitely a... You know what? I was talking to the commentators at this point. I definitely... I may have been a little distracted. Yep, there's a second save over it. The first save was supposed to be at the airship in case I couldn't complete this, so that I could do something else. And I was supposed to make a second save there, so that I could preset to either of them, depending on what the boss was. Obviously, that didn't work. There's our quick cutscene. No problem. And a song that I have no idea. Baigen is not what I wanted to see here. He is a boss that you generally want AoE for, but Kane does enough damage here, and I had that brief moment of like, okay, I can get some berserkers going. Thought about doing a twin attack there for a brief moment, and I was just like, what am I doing? Once again, not parrying when I should be. Was gonna cast Berserk on Rosa as well, but realized she already had the aim lined up, and then was holding off. And pull the Darkness Crystal. This was kind of the moment that I started spiraling a little bit. I was definitely deep in thought and didn't think to use exit until I was like 3 floors walking out. Yeah. I was most of the way out already by the time I realized it. I was like, oh, what am I doing? So at this point I'm thinking, okay, we're going to the Earth Crystal. That's gonna give us 2 characters. What characters do I want? What kind of party am I guiding this towards? And there's a good chance, especially the rate we're going, why I was thinking Gungnir was better than Defense Sword. Defense Sword is his best weapon that's not white or Dragoon. So yeah, I'm kind of sitting here thinking through, okay, we've got a pretty versatile party at this point. If we can get a second Berserker character, that'd be great. Ideally, I'd like to get either an Edge or a Tella so that I can do, or so that I have options for grind. So either Tella Rydia would be awesome, or Edge, and honestly, Edge and another like Berserker character, like I think we got a Lightbringer, so Cecil would be great there. The one I remember specifically saying, there is one combination of characters that I don't want to get, and that's Edge and Tella. I may have spoiled it a little bit by that explanation. That's okay. Golbez here. I did not play this well. We'll just leave it at that. It's a long fight. It's annoying. And I also, on top of that, did not play it well. Like, the characters I don't want to get demolished are the first ones to go. So at least I've got a Rosa. I got my low-level Porum and my Rosa. I wanted Kane because he's the fastest. So he'd be the most likely to be able to get the Star Veil up in time. And then for some reason, I immediately parried there instead of putting the Star Veil up. And at this point, I've got this brief moment of, oh god, followed by, wait, did that just happen? And for some reason, I decided to put a cure up. Once again, this is like the third time now, and this is something that I will definitely be thinking about for later. This is the third time that I have had moment of healing when I really don't need to. And that's something I probably need to be more aware of, because there's certain boss fights where you just don't need to heal. Like, we already have the Star Veil up. Golbez doesn't do any physical attacks, he only casts spells. So literally, Rosa cannot be attacked during this fight. Rosa cannot take damage, so why am I bothering to heal? Also, I got really lucky because apparently this spot is really low magic damage for Golbez. So, we'll take it. Because Rosa survived multiple spells there that she shouldn't have, and Porum drops here, I don't care. At this point, we've got 2 Porums. I am not in a rush on that, and we get the Y text. See the Tella there, and immediately, of course, was kind of hoping for the edge, but at this point I'm like, okay, maybe I'll get the Rydia, maybe I'll get a second Palom, you know, we can go for a real good Reflect team. I do feel like, as far as, at this point I'm also thinking about strategy with Mark, knowing that I have some of these techniques, like, I don't think Mark knows how to do a D-Machine grind, or is less familiar with them than I am. I'm probably a little bit less familiar with Reflect strats. But we also get an edge. So I'm like, okay, never mind. We got an edge. We're going to ditch our low-level Porum. Get our edge equipped. That brief moment of, wait, why am I equipping a middle sword? I've got full moons. Followed by, wait, why am I equipping full moons? I've got a Marisame. Actually, I think I completely just went by it there, even though it was literally on the screen. Thinking too much, was gonna save and then realized I couldn't here. This is another one of the bosses that I feel like I played terribly. It worked, but I played it terribly. So I have this brief realization as I'm doing this. It's like, oh crap. I don't know how many hit points this spot has. And I don't know if we're going to be able to race it down. I also have the brief moment there of realizing that the best way to do this would have been to berserk Edge with a mute knife, which I have, but it's still equipped on Callum. So I have to... So I berserk Rosa first, and then realize that I need to move that over to Edge, so, or get Callum unequipped, switch over to... You get the... So I berserk Rosa, and then Edge gets punched in the face twice because he doesn't have any armor. And I immediately am like, okay, this is fine. We'll just get him up and get going again. Nope. Completely hosed. But luckily, this boss has less hit points than I thought it did, and Rosa is doing more damage than I thought she would. Which is very good because we didn't have any Star Veils to potentially do a reflect on her, nor do we have the wall spell. I think that's, if you saw me going into the menu on Forum a couple times there, I think that is the reasoning, was I was looking for wall. We got a Moon Veil there. Once again, not a key item. And at this point, I'm thinking, okay, we've got a couple things that we can do. We've got top of tower. We've got the Leviathan spot. And then we've got the moon. And so I decide, you know what? Dark Elf is at Leviathan. That's not actually that bad of a boss. So let's do a grind before we continue. And that way we can just kind of get into the boss rush. This was also possibly the worst attempt at dropping my own party that I have ever done. Finally, it was just like, no, screw this. We're doing virus. Callum, just eliminate them. You just want the other party members down for the sake of making it less turns to pull around in order. Brief moment of, okay, how many sirens do I actually have? How many do I want? You want to use Cry because it increases the steal chance. It's the one mechanical thing it has. And then finally get around to virusing Rosa after not virusing her the time before. by this point, I have wasted so much time grinding for sirens already, but we're in it. My thought process is I want to get enough sirens that I can go through the Leviathan spot and any bosses that I run into on the moon without having to do another grind, and hoping that that XP will then carry me through to the end of the game so that I don't have to do another grind. Which I feel like is reasonable. It's not exactly what I would normally do, but I feel like it's still pretty reasonable. We have a lot of things at this point, unless the Leviathan spot is unless the Leviathan spot is, again, leads into some sort of trading game sequence of, you know, Baron Throne into Legend, or into Hook to Rat Tail to Legend, or something along those lines. We're gonna have to go to I thought I was getting 10 sirens. I ended up only getting 9. Then proceed to have a very obnoxious run here where I realize Pelham is slow, and he is my best egg cracker. So I have to parry through all the characters repeatedly, which later prompted the commentators to ask, why do you hate eggs? And the answer is because they are full of experience. So yeah, this is all it's going to be for a little bit. I've kind of already gone into why. I will say, the early game of this went very fast. Normally, I want to get to underground by the 45-minute mark, and we were underground well ahead of that in this seed. Looking at endgame prep and the moon at an hour in is not something that I have had on a seed in a long time. So there's a part of me that was thinking, okay, I could be ahead if I found something that Mark didn't. And at this point, I was specifically thinking about the fact that I had done that, the Bahamut fight early. I was like, okay, maybe if I did the Bahamut fight early, that might have led me to Twin Harp ahead of Mark. So I'm thinking I might have an advantage, which is then adding a little bit to my nerves. I had that brief moment of, okay, check my stats there, see if I am able to get the see if my characters are anywhere close to where they need to be, and they're not. Orb's still not even at 1,000 hit points. I'm sitting here thinking, okay, I cracked 10 eggs. This should be, 9 sirens feels like it should be more than that, and it was not. So at this point, I do have a brief diversion. Oh. I did. We didn't talk about it ahead of time, but I was like, you know what? We're in a race. just in case we had somebody on from like the actual racing community or something, I wanted to go check Job Dwarf quick. Even though it was really out of the way. The other thing I was looking for here was I realized I hadn't actually checked item shops for the most part. I don't know why I was checking armor shops. And also I definitely didn't need that wizard hat. Took a minute here to clear my inventory out. Ended up actually selling some stuff I shouldn't have. I'm pretty sure I'm going to be upset with myself later for this. Inventory is always the final boss. Kind of that moment of like, what do I still need? Should have kept the Thunderclaw. That's the one in particular. And then I realized I have a second tiara, and I'm like, why did I buy that wizard hat? But did not bring myself to sell it just because it's it is what it is. I don't know why I went back over there. Again, this is me now. Nerves are definitely setting in. I get over there, I realize I've checked this already, and I am now in panic mode a little bit because I'm making dumb mistakes. So the things specifically that I was looking for here were cabins. Because I realized that if I was going to be doing boss rush on the moon, I wanted to be able to make sure I had that. And a brief moment of pause there where I realized we haven't done a lot of fast, powerful bosses. If we ran into something like Mylan Z or it's another one that hits Antlion. If we'd run into one of those at like the Bahamut spot, that would be really rough. Having illusions for that goes a long way. So Dark Elf at this location isn't that bad. Dark Elf, the first part of the Dark Elf fight is all magic, and this spot has low magic. Because Leviathan actually uses magic, so that means it's actually balanced. And Dark Elf only uses a few spells. Is pretty fast, however. And the thing I was not expecting to be my big problem here was Whisper. You can see there, he got like 5 actions off before I actually even got Kane into the air. So I immediately grab Slow. Check for heals. No heals. Second slow. Start looking at using a cure, and then realize that I could actually use the P spell. Basically, why am I using my characters that can actually still do stuff to heal? While this did end up... This was not the best executed. I realized in retrospect what I actually should have been doing is getting a Berserk onto Kane. For some reason, I just was not focusing well. I used it on Edge, and then immediately he gets zapped. He had weak on him. That was dumb. And I should have healed using a different method. Start casting Piggy on Palom. Weak goes down, get him back up for 2. So that's the actual correct way to do that. And then Dark Elf uses Whisper, which unpiggies him, which means that now Palom's casting of Piggy is going to re-piggy him. At this point, I am getting frustrated. The fight is not hard, it's just annoying. I'm not worried about dying, I'm just worried about it taking. Finally get that down, and then Zeromus, getting ahead of myself. Dark Elf unpiggies Palom for me. Like, awesome, let's just get through this now. Immediately, why am I hesitating there? Immediately get into the Quake. That's fine. That Cure 2 down just to make sure. Me change. When you get to the second phase of Dark Elf, you can... he becomes vulnerable to status effects. And I realize I'm looking in the wrong window. I can't ever remember if coffins work on him or not, so I didn't want to take the risk. Got the stop down, and then just... I think Edge actually got stuck here. There's a weird thing that can happen where sometimes when you cast Berserk on somebody, if they're not at, or like depending on what actions they've taken, they'll just get stuck. So at this point now, on top of everything else, Edge is stuck. So I am depending now on getting Kane. For some reason, I don't just Berserk him. I'm getting more grumpy at myself the longer this fight goes. That slow was pointless. Oh, this was bad. Like, this fight was way longer than it should have been. It was just, and part of it was bad luck with the whispers, but part of it was execution. And I do feel like that's something that Honestly, that cost me some time. Silver Apple. Not what I wanted. At this point, I have one boss on Earth. What that says to me is, unless that one boss has exactly the Baron Key, we have to go to the moon. So I decide, you know what? I'm feeling like we're gonna have to go to the moon. I'm gonna skip the tower check. This gives us a couple different, basically we need to go to the moon, get our experience. At this point, we're gonna start in the ribbon room. We only need to get one key item, either the legend sword, the Baron key, or the Luca key to finish the game. So pretty good chance we're going to have to do maybe 2, maybe 3 bosses before we find one of those, considering how few key items we've found. Not going to bother with whatever character we find on the moon. We'll check the Hummingway shop when we get there. But not worried about the character, not worried about anything else. Literally, we've got our party, we've already done some grinding. This party will work. We've got a Murasame and on our edge, Fence Sword on Kane. It's not the best party, but it will do. Saves are painful. I really got in my own head about the saves. There's our cabins. So that we don't have to run back and forth through the lunar subterrane to heal. Quick while I'm there. I'm pretty sure I'm going to save 2 more times when I don't need to here. I'm already mad at myself for it. I'm going to land here. I'm going to exit the airship and save. I'm going to go get the character. And I'm probably going to save again. That is a 3rd Porum. Not what we want. Honestly, at this point, there's not a lot of other characters that I would take. We've already done most of our grind. Maybe if we had a second Rosa, I would take the time, just because we are still a ways off on getting Porum to be able to survive. Her hit points are low. And so we head down the subterranean. as we get to the bottom here, I'm starting to get a little nervous because I'm remembering how all of the easy bosses have already been passed pretty much. I mean, we could get like Water Hag, I suppose, still, but it like if you actually stop and think through what we've got left, it's like Kenazo, Ogopogo. There's some nasty stuff. Especially in this spot. And it's Plague. Like, okay, that's good. Plague is actually not that bad most of the time. And then I see how fast the timer starts going. I probably should have stopped immediately here. I made like 3 mistakes back to back here. The first one is, as soon as I saw how fast the timer was going, I should have just stopped. The second one is, for some reason, I decided to use Kamikaze on Edge. Edge is one of my best attackers. Why would I make him my sacrifice to keep bringing back up? Which then causes me to start casting Virus with Pelham because I'm now nervous. And for some reason I decided to keep using or attacking with Rosa. I think it's partially just because I realized I had like committed my edge and that I was now in this like survival mode. I let this fight go way too long. Like, as soon as characters started dropping and I was playing recovery mode, I should have immediately realized that this was a mistake and tried to fix it. This is probably my biggest time loss that I have. Because I know what the problems are. What I should have done is, like, even with this particular setup, what I should have done is immediately, instead of having Rosa attack, as soon as Porum died there, I should have made Porum my sacrificial character instead. And I should have gotten a Berserk on Edge and Kane, and then used the other 3 to manage the rest of the fight. Which I think I finally had this moment of realization that I could do this. And then decide not to? What the heck did I do? Yeah, I don't even know what I'm doing at this point. And then Edge is attacking himself again for some reason. Instead of Porum. This was terrible. And I kept it going so long. At this point, it's like I guess I was committed. But this is a really high hit point spot, so the fact that I was struggling with it for this long was a problem. And about this point, I realize that I don't have a character down. And it's already down to 3. And the person who would be able to use that life potion, get that life potion queued up, is the one who I just attacked. So I just lost, what was that, 10-15 minutes on that fight. I have the brief moment of realization. Okay, we actually need to shift our agility anchor to a fast character for this, because that's going to make the boss go faster. We want the boss to go fast for this. And the reasoning there is it means he gets his counts up faster, so we don't have as much risk. I realized my past mistake, and I immediately am like, okay, I can wait. And you can see here how much faster we are getting to act here as far as the count goes. So I have Forum, Kamikaze. Not sure why I had Edge. I should have used the life potion there, probably. But that could be a lot worse. And I let that go way too close. So once again, not playing this as well as I could. I did realize my mistake, and then I got a little bit too overconfident with it. Missed the Berserk on Pain. I think at this point I'm also getting frustrated, getting some nerves. Still don't have a good spell for Palom to use, which realistically I should just be having him use life. He's not that good at it. But now I realize Edge might be able to get a Moonveil off before the count goes up, but I failed that too. And now I realize I can't Berserk Edge. So we've got to reflect on our count. But it's not a permanent one like I wanted. And this is when I realized that I can actually get a permanent one up because he is going slow enough. It's like, okay, I think we can pull this off. Toss the wall down on Forum, and at this point, Forum cannot be hit by count, so we can just sit here and we are good forever. But it also means we need to watch that animation twice, so it's still longer than it should be. So with a wall on Porum and a Berserk on Kane, I'm finally at the point I should have been at quite a while. Have Rosa Berserk herself as well. And we are finally in go mode for this fight. Just in time for it not to matter, because we're pretty much done. But, oh well. We got there eventually. The way that this fight got handled was probably the worst mistake that I made. Possibly the second worst, but we'll get into that in just a moment. So there's Ribbon Room. Remember to get my encounter speed back. There's our Legend Sword. Legend Sword is the last thing we need. I'm sitting there hesitating for just a moment. Do I do another boss? Do I want to try something? Nope, we're doing this. I said if we get Legend Sword, we're done. We're done. Definitely a little bit nervous here. A lot of little movement mistakes. And at this point, I'm thinking, okay, Ribbon Room had it. I feel confident that I'm ahead just based on how I know Mark and I play. I know that there are certain little things that I am probably going to be a little bit more optimized on in this game, but Mark's a good player. So I'm like, okay, what do I need to do? Immediately go turn this in. And as I'm walking, I'm thinking two things. This is gonna leave me at 9 key items. And my characters are not high enough level yet. Sit there and stare at the items for longer than I should need to. I'm really not sure what I was doing. Dragon Claw, which is possibly the worst pull we could have gotten because it is not actually equipable by Edge. There's our crystal, 9 key items. And I'm sitting here thinking, Mark is right behind me. I don't know how far, like, we can't see each other. But I feel like right now, I'm in the lead. I just lost a bunch of time to that Ribbon Room fight. I'm gonna crack these 4 sirens I've got. And we're going, regardless of where I'm at. And that is the second big mistake that I made. Honestly, I probably could have done it, but we'll see. So, I crack the 4 sirens I've got. my last couple levels, take a look, realize my characters are Forum's at 1300, Palam's at 1400. I don't have Nuke. I don't have Cure 4. I start to do a little bit, I start to think about what else I could look for here. And then I just... Oh, that's what I was looking for. I remember now. I was debating on weapons and armor shops because I wanted to find a curse ring because I realized I didn't have a good agility anchor. And I was thinking, okay, if I can get a curse ring, I can equip that on Porum because she doesn't even have enough health anyway, and that will make her useful. And I checked a whole one shop because I was rushing. Finally, I was just like, you know what? We're going to try it. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. If the gamble pays off, I'm feeling confident that I win because I haven't heard the announcement yet. So I'm like, okay, this is this risk could pay off, or it could screw me over. As soon as this starts, I'm feeling like we're in trouble. My crystal's stuck at the bottom. I didn't bother organizing my inventory. And there's 2 shakes before we actually get into the fight, which means my agility anchor is not doing good enough. As soon as the fight starts, I immediately pull up my inventory. I have since learned that that is the reason that my silk webs keep missing. You have to wait till the until the new graphic is fully in play before you trigger it. So silk web means that I don't get my slowdown. And for some reason, with the silk web miss, the virus as my lead off there, I start tossing cure potions like that's gonna help. And I let this go on way longer than it should. I give it a solid effort, and I think that is the second thing. This is the biggest mistake I made, and the reason that this is possibly worse than the plague fight. Straight up, I should have stopped. Now I'm going for life potions, like that's gonna help? No. But because I did the gamble, I felt like I had to commit to it to make it pay off. And I should have just backed out. get the Berserk back up, immediately see that shake, and know that I have screwed up. And there's our first wipe. For some stupid reason, I make no adjustments and go straight back in, despite knowing the problems. Again, I committed way too hard to this. Oh, okay, I did at least adjust the battle speed. I was thinking that I didn't even do that. I'm slightly less stupid than I thought. Missed the Silk Web again. Should have realized the problem. Go for the Crystal as a guaranteed hit. And then instead of trying to set up a heal, go for the Berserk. My thought process here was that I wasn't being aggressive enough, and that if I can get those Berserks up, it can potentially push Zero Miss into the next phase. I pretty much accepted Porom as a loss immediately here. It's like, okay, she did her job, she got Berserk going. Honestly, I was slightly surprised at how well that worked and this is probably my biggest problem, is that right here, the setup actually. So I was like, okay, I could do this. And honestly, I think I could have. If I had hit the Silk Web, I think that even with these levels, I could have won with this setup if I had played it, or if I'd gotten the Silk Web. Managed to nerf a few more big bangs with the Crystal. Those counter nukes are rolling high, and only a matter of time at that point. Black hole comes out. Suddenly I'm in recovery mode again. I know I need to get my berserks going again, so I take a moment to get Porum up. Hit the jump. And then realize that I now can't berserk Kane. So I'm sitting here with Porum active. Luckily, he does a shake, so I'm like, okay, I'll just bait the I'll bait that with a slow. While that's running, all the nukes going, I take a look at my inventory to see if I've got a Cure 3 or an Elixir. I don't. And that is a pretty high roll on that Big Bang. Get our healing down. We're in okay shape still. But now he starts casting other spells, and that's what's gonna kind of seal the deal. Considering that at this point we are low level, no Silk Web, and mediocre on our gear, I feel like outside of the fact that I should have given up and redone some stuff, this fight actually went better than it should. I feel like I played it about as well as I could have. It was really just a matter of decision making more than anything. I don't remember. I think this is the nuke that, yeah, was a very high nuke roll. And again, at this point, so I already had the Cure 2 queued up. The Big Bang came out really fast after the nuke. We got a low roll on the nuke. Edge can't even do anything, and Kane is Kane's the only person who can actually act freely. And then Zero Miss nukes Edge. Again, at this point, I should have stopped. I was just feeling like I had already taken the gamble, and at this point, I needed this to work. Because I had taken that first step, because this had gone on too long. It's basically the gambler's fallacy of I've already started, so I need to commit. I feel like that's the wrong fallacy. Whatever. At this point, he's tossing nukes around. Big Bang comes out, and is this the one that didn't get nerfed properly? No, it did. Okay, and we even survived with Kane somehow. And again, I think I had a little bit too much hope is the problem. I just had this, like, I kept just squeaking by. Big Bang comes out with 2 characters at 100 hit points. Pain is still berserked. For some reason, I go, oh, because he's only in double-digit hit points. So I'm like, okay, if I don't cure him now, he's going to drop. I see the shake, and that's the writing on the wall. I didn't get a chance to get a Cure 4 off. I'm not going to get a chance to nerf it. Why did I let the animation play out, even? I'm genuinely confused why I let the animation play out. That was... We knew that what was going to happen there. At that point, I failed twice. I decide, okay, what do I need to do? I'm going to get a couple more levels. I feel like these characters are just not quite surviving. So I break, go down into the tower again, get back into my egg grind. So I was thinking 6 sirens would be enough. Felt like a good number. And I go to Thunderclaw, finish the siren off, or the alert off, and realize that I have sold it. Which means now I actually have to deal with this in a more honest way. Which sucks. At this point, I am, I've been in go mode to the point where I just need to finish this off for quite a while. And I am very nervous. Just want to get it done. I was in good position to get a sub 2 if I had just bothered doing my grind at a reasonable time. Or just playing a little better in a couple specific situations. Which I didn't realize how the silk web was working. My mistake with that. I knew you had to wait for the animation to come in, but I didn't realize you had to wait until to open the item menu until the animation came in. That was the difference for me. Tier 4 for Porum is one of the big pieces that I felt like I was missing. At this point, I think at this point I had already noticed that Mark was unmuted and that I had lost the race. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to finish off these sirens. Better safe than sorry. But I'm also realizing at this point that I'm not even getting a level on every character from each siren because I don't have 10 key items. And we're already getting to the point where the grind is hard, or I'm still not even at 1500 hit points. It's just not working out well. And I'm a little bit nervous that it's still not going to be enough, and that I'm going to need to do more grinding to get the characters to the levels that I want, which realistically is more than I need to do. The other thing is, by leveling these characters up, I have now also further increased our agility, which means that our agility anchor is horse. But I didn't think about that. So we save and we get back into it. At this point, like I said, I am pretty sure that I've already lost the race at this point. Double check the Dragon Claw just in case it's equipable. Realize I didn't even bother doing the Silver Apple last time. Finally take a moment to get my crystal and the silk web up. Aegis shield equipped. I think this organization I'm doing right now really sums up how bad my organization was going into that first round of Z fights. Double check for the curse rings. I realized I didn't even bother checking this shop for the curse rings. I know what my problem is at this point. I just don't have a solution, or I didn't think about the solution. One. Two shakes before the crystal goes off. Once again, not a good sign. I know there's a problem. I don't have a good solution. At this point, I had a misguided thought about the silk web missing. And I actually had the same problem here, which is that I now dart the defense sword. Apparently I still went too fast because the silk web still missed. So I finally just decided I need to get the silk web off. I don't have the time to do it. We're gonna just try and proc the counters with slows, because silk web is the equivalent of 2 slows. I felt like I had a shot at this point, but at this point I've already wasted a couple turns. And I don't feel like that's a good thing. But honestly, already going much better than last time. Low bar. Black hole. Realize I don't have a shake yet, so I pause on the Palom. Get the Berserks back up. Get a cure down. I hadn't yet. At this point, I know the shake is coming soon. I've got a character Berserk, so I'm waiting on edge to get that crystal down. Get that down immediately, and then get Cure 2 ready to get that to heal after the nuke counter. Not the character I want to see that hit, but it's a low roll. Now that I've got that nerfed, we get a... Or go ahead and get the Berserk going. or actually no, Cure 4 queued up. But apparently I didn't actually get the timing right on that nerf. That means that the Berserk is wasted, the Cure 4 doesn't hit, and I know that that's it. I'm finally realizing the recovery, or that I can't keep trying to play recovery. Even though that went better, it is still a problem, and I know what the problem is. You can see me checking the agility there repeatedly after each fight. I know that that's the problem. Missed the Silk Web again. At this point, I am getting exhausted. I'm making stupid mistakes. And apparently the speed was enough that the Big Bang goes off moments after the shake. Don't have a chance to get the counter nuke down. Almost wipes the team. Slow goes down. And counter nukes Rosa. And this one's already up. At this point, the commentators let me know that the race is over. So, I think it was a little bit after this. We talk a little bit. I let them know, I mean, we actually had a really good chat. Mark and I are good friends. I'm not like upset that I lost or something like that. I know I took a gamble and didn't pay off. I didn't execute well. I made some stupid mistakes. And Mark's a good runner. So at this point, I finally realized the answer to my solution has been here the whole time. Which is, there's a Tella sitting in, that I've never leveled up, sitting in Visidia. I've got like Palom wasn't doing anything anyway, and Tella actually works out better for me because he can also cast Berserk and Slow. Like, he's gonna die on the first Big Bang even if it is nerfed, but if you can get a Berserk off before you die, fine. That's still contributing more than Palom was. Palom was mostly tossing Cure 2s and passing. I am... you can see there from the flying. I was very distracted. This is at this point we're talking while I'm doing this. Not sure why I bothered doing that. Better safe than sorry, I guess. I think part of it was just because at this point we had already had the conversation, so I knew what was going on. I was no longer feeling rushed, so I wanted to make sure I was doing it right. And they asked if I just wanted to call or throw in the towel here. I said, let's go one more try. I know what the problem was, and I fixed it. I feel like we're going to be able to do it this time. So, had the one more try. One. Two. At that point, I'm a little nervous, but it took a lot longer for that first shake, which makes me feel a little bit more confident. Silk web hits. Silk web makes a huge difference in a Berserker setup. I'm not sure why I'm sitting there on edge like that. Like, I know what I need to do. And sitting on edge is not going to help if the Big Bang goes off. Big Bang hits. Nerfed. Tella still drops. Those hesitations there actually did cost me Tella being able to get a Berserk off. Get my Cure 4 and my Berserk. And at this point, I've got 2 White Mages up and running, 2 Berserkers up and running, and we haven't even seen the shake yet. I'm feeling so much more confident at this point. Not sure why I'm not doing anything there. Apparently I decided I didn't need to nerf those anymore. Torum survives, which I was not even expecting. And at this point I'm like, oh, okay, I guess we're doing this. Black Hole goes down, but we've got both White Mages. We've got enough time to actually get Berserk cast again, instead of just being reactive. We're still not doing a ton of damage, which is a slight problem. I'm I realize that Forum's still at a little bit low health. Nobody's quite at full, so I top off Tier 4. Still not feeling as good as I could about this. Again, a little bit of nerves, a little bit of nerves. Cast the slow, and instead of waiting and doing the single target on the nuke, I just cast Cure 4 ahead. Pre-cast Cure 4 so that it's ready to queue on the whole party as soon as right after that nuke goes off. That is also a third slow packed on. At this point, we are in really good shape. As soon as I see slow go up, Tier 3 prepped. Honestly, Kane could have probably still taken the Big Bang there. Will take the Big Bang there. At this point, I'm slightly surprised we've only seen a couple black holes. Haven't seen virus. Haven't seen any random nukes. Like, I'm a little nervous because it's going well. And I feel like there should be something else going on. By the time this does come, though, we're back up in good shape. We can get both Berserks down again safely. I start to go in because I think he's going to shake and then realize, oh wait, he's just casting nuke. Okay, I guess we just hold off on that. Cure 2 doesn't do nearly enough there. I don't know why I was so thinking that Cure 2 potions were worth anything. See the rocks fall, and I know we've actually got it in the bag at this point. There's a very slim chance of the back-to-back Big Bang Meteor, but with two white mages, we've got enough, and mostly misses on that. We're in good shape. And there's the top. So, overall, I find it slightly ironic, although unsurprising, that I feel like my worst performance was the race itself, out of the practice seeds I did. But I don't feel like I prepped well for the race mindset, and I feel like a lot of the mistakes I made were nerves. I did make a lot of big mistakes. Right off the bat, I got lucky with the being able to complete Antland. After Antland, though, genuinely, I feel like I played really well. Pretty much, like, I made some little mistakes, but I didn't make another big mistake until Plague. And those last two sections, I was just so rattled that I was making really bad mistakes. And the biggest mistake was not an actual gameplay mistake. It was not stopping. It was trying to limp through a losing battle instead of just restarting and fixing it. It was not thinking through all my options. Like, both of those, it was straight up agility was the problem. And I knew that both times, and I didn't stop to actually fix the problem. I didn't actually look for curse rings thoroughly. I didn't need to do those extra levels, probably. If I had actually fixed my agility, gotten that Tella before I went to the first Zero Mist fight, I might have been able to win. If I'd gotten the Silk Web off, that would have also helped. That was also rushing. Like, I got it off too fast, and it didn't end up working. So, the nerves got me in the end. This was a great race. From what the commentators said, I was ahead for... we were neck and neck for a lot of it, and I was a little bit ahead going into Z. I had the time to actually think through things, and the fact that I didn't is what caused me. If you haven't, go and watch the head-to-head race. The VOD will be linked in the description. It was hosted on Wheel of Struggle as part of their Struggle R race series. This is between seasons. Wheel of Struggle is a great community, and it was so fun for them to host this. I mean, the fact that they hosted this, that they were willing to host a race like this and commentate it when they were, I think it was starting at like 8 o'clock p.m. for them because they're in the UK. So, you know, this was running into the late evening for them. This was a game that they're not familiar with, that they were still willing to commentate for and to host, and I appreciate them for everything they do, genuinely. Go show them some love if you can. Check out some of the other upcoming races. I will be doing what I can to highlight some of those as well. There's a lot of interesting stuff coming up, and a lot of the other people in Wheel of Struggle are a lot more into the action speedrun kind of games, so I am really excited to see a few of those in action because they are very talented as well. My next race will not be for a while. I've asked for that to get pushed back. I think it's in late January, early February. I'll post the date when I get it. But that is going to be Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past. So stay tuned for that. Not randomized. Hope you enjoyed this. This was a little bit different for me, doing commentary after the fact. So hopefully this worked for you as well. I feel like it gave me a lot better insight on what I needed to say. I didn't spoil too much. If you did enjoy, please give me a like and subscribe. Check out the other content on my channel. If you're not subscribed or haven't seen any of this before, I've got like 80 runs of Free Enterprise posted. Would love to. You can entertain yourself for quite a while with that. If you have any questions or suggestions, please leave them in the comments, especially for this, doing a slightly different format. And as always, have a good one. We'll catch you next time.